There's one thing I've learned after years of coaching top entrepreneurs and chasing big dreams myself. Winning isn't luck, it's character. Welcome to the Cody Hofhine Show, the place for entrepreneurs who want more. More clarity, more alignment, and more meaning in their business and in their lives. I'm Cody Hofhine, and each week I bring you lessons from my own journey and conversations with people who face the same struggles, challenges you're dealing with right now. So together, we'll explore the habits, the mindsets, and the decisions that create real success, not just at work, but also at home. So let's get right to it. Let's start with the first characteristic of every true winner. It's the word relentless. When I think of being relentless, I think of getting back up every single time. Now, the other thing I think of, and I hope I do this thing good service, what I'm about to do, there was an Instagram post. It was Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I can just hear it. I believe he was on Grant Cardone's stage, if I remember right, when I heard this post. And so when I hear this getting back up every single time, I can just hear his voice every time. And he said basically like this. He's like, the losers, they stay down. But the winners, they get back up. And they get back up. And they get back up. And I remember the audience just erupting over Arnold Schwarzenegger on Grant Cardone's stage, right? They just keep getting back up every single time. Back when I first started in entrepreneurship, I sold insurance. It was, in my mind, going to be like an incredible business, which there was so much learning, and it was absolutely part of my journey. But it wasn't glamorous. The first year in business, I made $19,000, guys. That's it. Now, it would have been easy to just roll over and quit, give up, go back to safe corporate American job, but something inside me knew that if I just stayed in the game, kept showing up, kept getting back up, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, get back up, it would pay up, right? It would pay off. So I did. I pushed through 5 more years of it, right? And yes, was there pain along those whole 5 years? Absolutely. And I'll never forget the day that I walked into the kitchen and found I found my wife crying at the table, right? This is 5 years into it. So many, many years of work, many, many weeks of long hours working, 5 years into it, my wife's crying at the table, right? And it was, and I've shared this on other episodes, so I'll do it really quick. It was really still struggling, wondering how we're going to make ends meet with the little money that was in our bank account. That was the moment that changed everything. We were doing everything we could, and it still wasn't enough. That's when I made the decision to pivot. And I would say, again, this is another post that comes to my mind, and I can't do Kevin O'Leary's voice, so I won't. But Kevin O'Leary just says, the number one characteristic of an entrepreneur is the ability to pivot, because that is something that's going to happen. It's inevitable. You'll build a plan, and nothing goes perfectly as planned. The one promise that is very true is build a plan, but be ready to pivot. And those that are able to pivot continue to win, right? So that's when I made the pivot to step into real estate wholesaling, something I still do today. 39 days later, this is back in 2015. 39 days later, after making this pivot, I do my first deal, and it pays us $24,000, right? Like, I was pinching myself like, holy crap, this worked. Not only did it worked for Cody Hofhine. And that deal didn't happen because I was the smartest guy. Far from it. It happened because I refused to stay down, right? It's this ability to be relentless and just to keep getting back up. Being relentless means you keep getting up. One of my clients, CJ Moss, that I work with, and I've been working with for 6 years one-on-one, is the perfect example of this. This guy is one of the most relentless individuals I've ever met. He's out of Rhode Island, out of Providence. When he started, every deal, so this is back in, let's say, 2019, every deal was falling apart. Contracts would get stolen, deals would fall through, people would undercut him, but he kept showing up. He was so relentless on making this work. He stayed in it. Fast forward, CJ now runs a $12 million operation, and we're working together to scale him to $40 million over the next, not 10 years, guys, 2 years is his goal to hit that 40. That's what relentless looks like. Because as Jim Watkins said, a river cuts through rock not because of its power, but because of its persistence. Albert Einstein, he said it perfectly. It's not that I'm so smart. It's just that I stay with problems longer. That's what winners do. They just stay with it longer. And if you're willing to do it, Ogmandino, right? I'm quoting all these people because it's just coming to mind. I love it. There's a book that's called The Greatest Salesman in the World. It's these scrolls, right? Ogmandino says, I will persist until I succeed. Not I will persist until it gets hard. I will persist until someone kicks me in the face. I will persist only until it gets rough. No. I will persist until I succeed. So number one, relentless. Number two, courageous. Most people think courage means you don't feel fear. That couldn't be further from the truth. Courage means even when you feel fear, you still move forward anyway. Even the most courageous people experience fear. They've just trained their courage muscle to be stronger than their fear muscle. For me, one of the hardest moments of my life was back in 2009. The economy was crashing, and it was a little bit different than maybe the other markets around me. So Utah, it didn't feel like everyone says the crash of 2008. We didn't feel it in 2008. We felt it in Q4 of 2009. I mean, it was way past when everyone else was feeling it. Arizona, Nevada, California, Florida, all these other states were already like bankrupt, and Utah was still just doing good. So finally in Q9 of 2009, that's when the economy started crashing on us. And I was working with my dad in construction. It was his little mom pa business. We were building commercial buildings, and the jobs were drying up, right? Because commercial came to a screech, like just a halt. Like it just stopped instantly. And I remember pacing around the house with my wife. My heart was pounding, right? I was terrified because I knew I needed to tell my parents I was going to go find another job. They wanted to keep paying me because they are just the greatest human beings on earth. And they wanted to pay me even though work wasn't coming in. And I was like, I can't do that. I can't drain their bank account. And I didn't want to keep taking money from my mom and dad when there was no work coming in. It was one of the hardest conversations at that time in my life that I'd ever had, but it was the right one. That moment taught me something. Courage isn't comfort, it's conviction. One of my one-on-one clients, Joe Schriever, he went through the same thing in his business. He was doing everything himself. So maybe you're listening to this, maybe you're an entrepreneur, you're wearing all the hats. That's what Joe was doing. My dear friend Joe out of Buffalo, New York. And he was scared to hire because of risk, right? Like, what if we don't have enough leads? And what if this doesn't work out? And what if I promise him this and then it never works out and he now loses the job that he's coming from to come here? But guys, here's the truth. For Joe to grow, he had to push through that fear. And when he finally did, when he hired those key people, his business exploded from this 500,000, 600,000 range to now he's going to be doing 7 figures this year. Why? Because he faced his fear head on. Brendon Burchard, he always talks about you conquer your fear with your proximity to it, meaning you just got to go get on it. Like if you want to learn how to ride a bike, you can't learn it by just making a plan. You learn it by hopping on the bike. You overcome that fear by just your proximity to it. Mark Twain says, face the thing you fear the most or do the thing you fear the most, and the death of fear is certain. Eleanor Roosevelt said, you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. If you want to build courage, get close to your fear. That's where growth lives. The third characteristic of winners is that they dream big. You'll never take bold action on small dreams. And dreaming big starts by getting familiar with your dreams, by touching them often. So let me tell you about what I mean. Years ago, my wife and I, we'd walk through a park at night, and we did this every time. It's West Jordan City Park. We'd drive over there, turn off the car, and we'd just hold hands and walk through this park late at night. And we'd talk about what our dream home might look like one day. Maybe it's going to be a little bit bigger, more room for the kids. Maybe everyone would get their own room versus stacking and sharing rooms, right? Then we started going to what's called, in Utah, it's called the Parade of Homes. And what it is it's these 30 massive homes that the best home builders of Utah, they put their homes that they've built on showcase. And for like 2 weeks, there's probably 60, 70, 80,000 people that you get to go through these homes. And it draws a ton of people to come because they want to just see what's going on. Like, what do these homes look like? Like, I'll never be able to live in a home like this. So it's might as well go like pay the $30, whatever it is to get the ticket. So I can just walk through these massive homes and these big homes, right? And I will never forget how uncomfortable it felt that first year, right? We were talking about these dreams. We're saying like, oh man, how nice would it be to live in one, like a bigger home one of these days? We felt so uncomfortable that first year. It was like we didn't even belong. We'd walk through these homes thinking like, who are we to dream this big? I mean, some of these natural thoughts that came out of my mind now that I think about it is just some of the limiting beliefs, or maybe it was just a camouflage like almost like throwing in the towel, maybe giving up or something. Because I remember really, me and Wendy were like, do you really need a house this big? Like, who needs a house this big? And instead of staying with our dream and wanting to dream big, we were almost challenged by it because of how uncomfortable we felt. And maybe we were trying to diminish the uncomfort by saying, hey, it's okay where we live. Like, it's okay. Like, we don't need this. No one needs this. And I remember just these weird, awkward feelings that first year. But guys, the next year, it was a little bit different. We started saying things like, oh, remember this builder from last year? Or, hey, look how they designed this kitchen. Or I remember even talking about these appliances, right? At this time, we'd never heard of them, but there's like Wolf, Sub-Zero, Thermador, all these names that I had never heard of, right? I'd heard of like LG. That was probably one of the nicest ones back in when we were in that time of, and there's like Frigidaire and all that stuff, right? But I'd never heard of these Wolf, Sub-Zero, Thermador. These were like $20,000 ovens or ranges that they'd put into homes. And I'm like, holy cow, 20 grand. Are you kidding me? The next year, like the second year we saw them, like, oh, look that's that Wolf range. And we started to get familiar with it. We dared to open the fridge. We were doing things that we weren't doing the first year. It just felt a little bit more comfortable, right? It felt different the second year because we were starting to get more familiar with our dreams. And what's interesting is your body resists so many times your dreams. As you start to put them out there, your body may be like, ooh, this is different. So that's why you've got to repeat your dreams often. Dream big and repeat them often. See them, put it on a vision board, go out and touch your dreams. If there's a certain car you want, go drive to like one of those car dealerships, go touch the actual car, get in it, take it for a test drive, get familiar with it, get on Turo for heaven's sake, set yourself a goal and say, hey, when I do X, I'm going to rent this car for the day, and go rent that dream car for the day instead of owning it, right? Get familiar with your dreams, because as you get familiar with your dreams, you awaken your subconscious to now go out in your behalf and find all the opportunities that if you act upon them will lead you to fulfilling that goal, right? It's no difference than when my wife was pregnant. She said, I notice everyone's pregnant. She noticed all the people that were pregnant as well. When I wanted a black Duramax truck, I noticed black Duramax trucks were everywhere, right? Because my subconscious was now heightened and aware of what I wanted and my desires, and it started pointing it out. Cody, there's a Duramax. Cody, there's a Duramax. Cody, there's a Duramax. And I started seeing all these opportunities, all of this stuff, because my body wasn't resisting anymore. It was actually trying to receive it by pointing out, there's a truck, there's a truck, there's a truck. And then I started finding the opportunities that allowed me to now own my favorite truck, which is the GMC Duramax. And I've had it, the same one, since 2017. I'm not a fan of swapping out cars often, and it's still my favorite truck, right? And it just came from dreaming big. So here's a couple quotes. Simon Sinek, he says, dream big, start small, but most of all, start. Richard Branson, if your dreams don't scare you, they're too small. So dream big, guys. Don't put limits on your dreams. And then get close enough to touch those dreams until they feel normal. Talk about them often. Find ways to touch those dreams and watch what happens. You're going to awaken your subconscious to go out there and start doing the work to find the actions and the opportunities that will make that a reality should you continue to want to fulfill that dream. Number 4, take action before building a perfect plan. The fourth characteristic of winners is they just take massive imperfect action. Clarity doesn't come before action. It comes through action. And I think too many times I see too many entrepreneurs trying to build a perfect plan. But let me tell you the secret in life. Those that are willing to just take massive imperfect action are miles ahead. In fact, years ahead of those sitting at home building perfect plans, taking no action at all. People think that you can sit there and outplan the people that are just taking action. Yes, will they go out there and make mistakes? But guess what? Even when you build your perfect plan, you're going to go out there and do the exact same thing that the massive imperfect action takers are doing, and that's you're still going to fail. You're still going to make mistakes. You cannot prepare perfectly a plan that gets you through everything perfectly with no bumps, bruises, trials, challenges. It's not possible. You're always going to have those things. So quit preparing, right? Clarity doesn't come from planning. Clarity comes from action. When you take action, you learn the next step, the next process, the next thing that you must do so that you can get to the next level, right? One of my clients, Aaron Gaunt, a one-on-one client I've been working with this year. He's out of California. He's out of beautiful, beautiful Temecula. He's the perfect example of this taking massive imperfect action. Every time we get off a coaching call, he doesn't wait, right? He goes out and he implements immediately. He doesn't chase perfect. He chases progress. And I've always said that my whole, I'd say, entrepreneurial career, progress, not perfection. Progress, not perfection, right? Just get enough knowledge to take your next step and let that step give you the clarity of what your next step needs to be. When you take that step, let that be what gives you clarity to take the following step. Aaron Gaunt, the best at it, right? He'll send me text messages all the time. I'll be on a call with him on Tuesday, and all of a sudden on Wednesday, I'm getting a video of him implementing it in his office. It is absolutely amazing. You guys, failure is inevitable. It's not something to avoid. It's something to learn from. So embrace it. Zig Ziglar said, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Pablo Picasso, action is the foundational key to success. So take the step, guys, even if it's messy, because winners don't wait for perfect. They move, and they learn while they move. Number 5, the biggest game changer of them all is winners surround themselves with people better than themselves. Jim Rohn said, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. That quote, guys, changed my life. From day one, I've made sure I've never was the smartest person in the room. If you're the smartest person in the room, get out of that room. It's the wrong room to be in. When I first started insurance, I partnered with someone who had 20 years of experience. That partnership accelerated everything. Now, it might be contradiction because, yes, I only made $19,000 my first year, but there was still so much good that I learned from this individual because he was in the game, right? I got to skip years of mistakes by just being around him. Then, when I jumped into wholesaling, I hired a mentor, right? Because I also wanted to make sure, okay, insurance, I want to do even better. I want to hire someone that is holding me accountable, right? Not just a business partner that's been in the game, but I want to hire someone that I pay and physically holds me accountable, right? And so I hired this mentor that was already in the destination I want to reach. And that's crucial when you're hiring mentors. Make sure they're in the destination, that they're 5 years ahead of you. They're actually doing what you want to be coached on, right? Truthfully, guys, I didn't even have the money. I put it on a credit card. But here's the thing. I knew it was going to work because I knew, I'm so committed. And when I'm committed, I will take any action it takes. And B, I was paying a mentor that was in the destination I wanted to be at. That, my friend, is a recipe for success. Now, that decision changed my life and my income forever. And now it's not just business. I surround myself with people who are better fathers. I want you to think about in your life, in all areas of your life, are you hanging out with the people that are better spouses, right? The better fathers or the better mothers? Are you hanging out with the better leaders, the better people that are better spiritually than you? People who pull you to higher grounds in every area of your life. That's what this whole concept of hanging out with people that are better than you, right? You surround yourself with people that are better than you. You're the average of the 5 closest people you spend the most time with, right? And said this way, Dan Pena, he says, show me your friends and I will show you your future. Proximity, guys, it's power. Your circle determines your ceiling. So ask yourself, who are your 5? Because what science is showing too, that your 5 is actually, it goes further than the 5 you're actually hanging out with, because those 5 also have their own 5, right? So they're going to have their 5 that's influencing them. And then those, let's say 25, have 5 that are influencing them. So in all reality, you have about 150 people that are influencing you when you select the 5 that you want to hang out with, because they have 2 layers deep of their 5 being surrounded or influencing you. So make sure you choose those 5 really, really, really well. Now, guys, in closing, winners, they aren't born, they're built. They're built through relentless pursuit, courageous steps, dreaming big, taking massive imperfect action, and hanging out with people that are better than them. And if you're listening to this right now, guys, and you're thinking, I'm ready to live like a winner. I'm ready to adopt these habits so I can excel in my life, excel in my business, excel in my family. That's exactly what I do with my one-on-one clients. Be sure now, because it is finally up. My personal website is finally built out. Go over to codyhofhine.com. And what you can do there is take this assessment that is free of charge. Go in there and it will start to like pinpoint the gaps in your life. So it's going to ask you some questions and you get to like grade yourself, rate yourself. Again, free assessment. And by going through it, it will just open your eyes to see where your gaps are. It'll open your eyes to see where you can perform and get better. And should you want to book a call because you see the next best fit is to work with me, much like the individuals I talked about on this podcast episode, book a call. We'll hop on a call together, see if it's the right fit. So here's what I want you to do. In closing, I want you this week, choose one of these 5 traits to lean into. Is it you need to be more relentless? Is it you need to be more courageous? You need to start dreaming bigger? You need to start taking more imperfect action? Or is it you need to start really upping your game and surround yourself with better people? Because you guys, when you do these things, you don't just chase success, you become it. Thank you so much for being with me. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Be sure to share it with someone that's in need of hearing these words. And also go out there and rate it with a 5-star review. As you do these things, it will help push this podcast out to the masses, which is my goal, so I can have a bigger impact on people out there. Thank you again for showing up, and I'll see you on the next episode.